Do you think it's possible to master a language in just 6 months? My answer is yes, it's absolutely possible. Now, when I say master, I don't mean to become indistinguishable from a native speaker. I mean reaching a level where you can comfortably consume content, you can function in this language. If you use the method that I'm about to share with you in this video, all it will take is a little dedication and time, and you will achieve your goal. You will become fluent in your target language in 6 months. In this video, we will talk about 3 phases. Phase 1 consists of learning the basics. First of all, we need to learn things like the writing system and pronunciation. For example, Russian language, which is my native language, has a very different alphabet from English. And so if you're learning Russian, for example, as an English speaker, you need to learn the characters. You need to become familiar with these letters. In this stage, we also need to learn how every letter sounds and how the language is pronounced, like in general. But it's very important to not get stuck in this phase. I would say you need to spend maybe around 2 weeks on this stage, and then you're ready to move on. Because remember, our final goal is to become fluent as soon as possible, so we don't want to learn letters and the writing system for days on end. So let's move on to the next stage. The next stage should take you no longer than 3 months. If you are learning English and watching this video, you've probably already passed this stage, which is great, and you can move on to the next stage, which is vocabulary and listening. The good thing about this stage is that we don't need to overcomplicate it. It's very simple. We need to learn the words and we need to listen as much as possible. If you can listen 5-7 hours a day, that's excellent. And it's actually doable. It's not crazy to say that. When it comes to words, I would say learning 1000 essential words will do the trick. And also, like I said, we need to listen to our target language. You don't need to go super crazy with this one. I would say 3-4 hours every day would be enough. By the end of this second stage, you will have built a solid foundation. Remember that your goal is not to memorize words. Your goal on this stage to recognize these words when you hear them. Okay, so after you've learned 1000 essential words, we are ready to move on to the next stage. At this point, you will already start thinking in your target language, which is excellent for our purposes. You also should be more comfortable with consuming content. You should start understanding native speakers a little bit better. So now we've been learning for around 3.5 months, and we still have 2.5 months left. And now it's time to learn grammar and speaking. All our third stage will be consisting of learning these 2 things. The golden rule here is not to spend too much time on grammar. You just need to learn 3 basic tenses: present, past, and future. Remember that you don't have to overwhelm yourself with things like relative clauses or difficult compound nouns or stuff like that. I strongly believe that grammar should support communication, not prevent you from communicating in this language. So what about speaking? I feel like a lot of people wait until they are ready to speak. They wait way too long, and eventually they can even abandon learning the language itself because they are so afraid to speak. In my opinion, this is a big mistake because speaking is not the reward at the end. It's part of the process. And because of this fact, you should be speaking as much as possible in this phase. I would say ideally a couple hours a day, 2 to 3 hours of speaking. It doesn't matter who you are practicing this particular activity with. You can speak to yourself, you can speak to your friend, doesn't matter. You can talk to artificial intelligence, to AI, it's completely up to you. And so this is basically it. This is how I learned English to a really high level, and I think that you will succeed at your target language as well. If you are learning English, subscribe to this channel. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.